is be realistic. So tonight I'm gonna be talking about being realistic, and it's my sincere hope that we're gonna get something about being realistic. So, things to do with love and romance are very sometimes have a utopic tendency. I hope you understand when I say utopia, meaning that they are dreamish, idealistic. The last thing they are is realistic. So people fantasize a lot when it comes to. Can you hear me?
Not audible.
I'm not audible.
Ni kama umeingia kwa mtungi.
Oh, okay, sawa. Now?
A little bit better.
Now?
Fine.
This is better?
Unagwara sasa, unameenda kugwara vitu gani tena?
Okay, sawa. Let me see what Sorry. I'm suffering here.
Thank you. That's great.
Okay. So most of the time, romantic issues, love issues, relationship issues, especially when you're thinking of marriage, have a tendency to be utopic. Utopic in the manner of they have fantasy attached to it, and people have this Alejandro. If you watch this operas, mentalities, but Kenya is really coming out strong. I have seen several operas in Kenya. What Nigani? I think Maria. I one time went out to teach a school with Ronnie, and these guys told us, you have to finish 5 minutes to 6. And they had really chilled out the whole day because we were supposed to end like 3, and they wasted our time. They pushed our time. Sorry, they didn't waste because they were eating and feeding nicely. And so if people are hungry, we give. So 5, but they insisted on 5 to 6. So we are like, they are here holding us ransom to teach more. But then they have a 5 to 6. They insisted, you have to end by 5 to 6. And so I was caught up thinking what's going on. So when we went back to the house and I was asking Ronnie, I didn't get it. These guys kept us there, but 5 to 6 they insisted we go. So and Ronnie seemed to know what was happening. He said, ni Maria, walikuwa naenda kuona Maria. Apparently a repeat of Maria happens every Saturday. I don't know if still does, but that time it was being repeated then. And so everyone was nikasema, oops, goodness. Hey, Maria. And I know you are all here. Some of you are YouTube fans and mnunuanga ile Maria bando. Nasikia kuna Maria YouTube bando. And so we are in this utopic. When it comes to relationships, guys have a utopic mentality. They have this happily ever after thinking. And men have formulated this ideology that you have to lie to a woman to bag her. Una kuingia box kama hujamdanganya. And so they also create a utopic universe for the lady, and the lady buys into that utopic world. And when she says I do, or she comes and stays, there are those. They will always get the reality. The reality has become a thing that happens only after marriage. It's in my sincere desire that by the end of this conversation, or rather me talking, we are going to have gotten to a place whereby we know the place of reality and the place of utopia. Of course, the crazy and fun and maybe let me put even happiness in there is utopia. Utopia is an unrealistic world that you can go into anytime you want and out of anytime you want. And the negative sister of utopia is bitterness, anger, and frustration, whereby if your utopia is not fed in the relationship that you had intended, then you are warmed up for heartache, and then that becomes the sister of utopia. And I have had the privilege of meeting people with a personality disorder, which involves utopia. And I am telling you, they can create a reality to them, not to, and they sell it. And they really sell it. I had this guy who had really convinced us that he is from Tanzania, he's born in Msoma, and and he and we bought into the story, and he had very nice Swahili. He would struggle with his English a lot, and we even told him, your Swahili is perfect, so why don't you use your Swahili? Only to meet his mother 3 years later, and mama yake anakoroga kiembu. Mama yo, this this utopia is apex. Is apex. I can only imagine every day, everything we ever say, it was a lie. Because of a utopic universe. But unfortunately, relationship is the romantic relationships are places whereby people buy and sell utopia willingly. They are willing buyers and willing sellers. And so people are never coming to the table with who they really are. And I'm glad that today my wife is here. I think you had my baby. And I don't know how many people can stomach a realistic relationship, because I think utopia has become the thing. And so I remember very well, the first thing I ever did with my wife was to expose her to the woman she will later meet when we are going to do the marriage thing. So since I liked her and I also loved her, I thought, before we get in too deep, I'd rather know if she's walking away from me early by exposing some of the things that she might face in her future. So the reality, that's what I'm telling you, the reality of the things she may be facing. And she had come to, when she was a girlfriend, she had been there burying my dad. And she had a snippet of my mother. My dad and my mother are two different worlds. How they came about together, God only knows. And I gave her the privilege of meeting my mama as early as possible, and her sitting down. And in a not so nice way, my mother that day, and that's when I knew this is my woman, because my mother, I don't know, for a good reason or for heaven's reason, she was calm. And I don't know, she must have liked her. and she didn't do what she's known to do. And I knew there and then, hey, this one has found favor with my mother. Goodness. Like no woman belongs to the sun finds favor with my mother. And that day she found favor. So I don't know, I might have prayed, she might have prayed, God must have been in the process. But I needed her to see this is what is coming down your road. And I have seen people walking into dating arena with a lot of lies. Or some not lying, but really just painting a good picture. For the person to come into marriage and be hell-struck by the reality of the situations. Let me just be honest with you. You'd rather have reality from the word go from facing lies. The damage lies have create in people after marriage. You should talk to people who are married, and they tell you about their broken visions, broken dreams, crashed ideologies. Things have happened, and people have been destroyed courtesy of the reality, because the reality was not present. And if the reality would have been present on day one, then things would have been different. And people have become wolves. Nowadays what tuongejea Team Mafisi. I have noticed today Team Mafisi have become realistic, but there was a time Team Mafisi they were wearing Team Kondo. Team Mafisi were wearing Team Kondo. So you go and thinking this is a Kondoshe, and then when the reality comes, it is a Fisi. And off you're broken. A girl comes all sheepish and nice, only to bring out the clothes later on. And these have caused a lot of heartbreaks, depression, unforgiveness, woundedness in excess. Some of the marriages have even broken later, have broken later because of the reality that has come to be. And the most unfortunate thing, what I'm saying about being unrealistic cuts across. It's not just watu wa dunia, ati people of the world only, or secular people. Even Christians, even religious people, even Muslims have become vicious liars. People are, because of idealistic, and sometimes even the social media, people have become unrealistic. So they have these personas they are selling. So when you really meet, someone is absolutely different. And that's why I even tell people who date online, tell them it's okay to date online. That's okay. I have no restrictions for that. But are you sure who you're talking to? Because people are known to create personas online. Real, and if you buy into that persona, they like it and they move along with it. But when you meet on a realistic table, you find out, what they were talking about and who they really are is absolutely different. And some people have committed, and have moved on to becoming deeply romantic or online to their own detriment. Because once your emotions are entangled, and especially for girls, you're caught. So when the reality comes, you will be blinded by your emotions, and you will take the wrong route. And today I want to invite us to the table of reality, whereby we can be able to look at things by first looking at yourself. Look yourself in the mirror and discover who you really are. Then that's the person you want to table every time you want to go on a date. That's the person you want to sell every time you want to go seeking out a relationship. Why? Because the person who will relate with the realistic you is bound to be genuine. But the person who will relate to your utopic, idealistic you is bound to relate to that. And when they come to the reality, they will hate the reality. Sometimes there's a percentage that likes the reality, but more often than not, people will hate the reality because they feel fooled, they feel cheated. I will never forget, a man of God once came to me and told me, my wife fooled me. I asked her, why? I thought you said the Lord showed you, That's why I'm very cautious about sometimes telling people, the Lord showed you. Let them be shown themselves. Let them pray and get the seeing. And so when this man of God woke up, and the things he was facing with his wife, it was terrible. And so he cried out to me and saying, Dennis, I feel fooled. I feel like I married the wrong person. And it's because there's also this other type of thing that happens. When you're attracted to a person because of their outward activity, their public life, Let's say in church, you see a praise and worshiper dancing there, and you're like, I am really in love with that praise and worshiper. They really do it nicely. He sings nicely, she sings nicely, and you fall in love. A little, without your knowledge, you forget that the praise and worshiper, that is an activity they are performing. And beyond the stage, beyond the praise and worship, there's the person. And that's the person you are supposed to meet, not the praise and worshiper. So if you met that the praise and worshiper, and the other person is different, then you will be doomed. And these are the realities that people have faced, especially when you are even having these public figures or these personas that are very extroverted and outgoing. They will always throw something at you, but also have something that you don't know. And so when you start with yourself, you know, Michael Jackson once said, start with the man in the mirror. And if you start with that man and become real to yourself, become comfortable in your skin, you know, become comfortable if it's ladies without your makeup. Look at that, you know, pimpled face and fall in love with it without the makeup. Look at that balding head if you are a man, and fall in love with that, and love the man in the mirror, love the lady in the mirror. Then you begin a journey of truth. And many people have cried that I am attracting wrong people, and don't even look into themselves to see what is the idealistic thing they are believing. And that's what people are getting attracted to. And you see, what you think a lot about, you end up even attracting. So if you are this makeup artist all the time, and you're not used to the real person without the makeup, you will create that persona, and you will fall in love with that makeup artist, and you will sell that makeup artist, and that makeup artist will attract people. But the people you will attract are not used to the other one, the one that goes to bed and wakes up in the morning. They are used to the makeup artist, and they will mistreat the other you, and they will help you mistreat the other you because you hit that other. And so I am encouraging us to come, put your best foot front, but also if it is not your best foot, then also put your bad foot in front, because that's the reality. You know, one time I was watching this Mr. Right thing for Dr. Ofweneke, and this dude came in from Mombasa, and he was good looking, and he was out to date, and he was told what type of a woman he's interested in. And this guy says, you know, ata mwanamke akiwa kiwete. And I thought, brilliant. This is a guy who's comfortable in his skin. He's too comfortable that he can accommodate an uncomfortable person. Mtu akona ulema mahali. And some of us, if you would even imagine, because we are in so utopic that even the imagination, such that you would even block a potential best life just because we are so used to the utopic world. I'll never forget one particular lady I know. I consider her my mother. And this mama was a prayer warrior, and she really taught me a lot in terms of prayers and stuff and fasting. And I used to visit her when she's doing her 40 days or her 21-day fasting, and I would join her for a day, and I would really suffer. I graduated all the way to 2 days and 3 days. And she even motivated me that one day I was able to take a 40-day. And walking with her, I had never really met the husband. She was a lovely, good lady and beautiful. One day we were going somewhere, and the whole family, and I had become part of the family through her, and we went for the trip, and I got to meet the husband for the first time. The man had been struck by polio when he was a child. So you know how polio people, either they lose both legs, are tiny, and they have to keep on using crutches and stuff. So he is even minute because of the loss of legs. And this lady is tall and beautiful. hiyo mahesabu ilinipita kidogo. So I never commented anything. It's those moments that you're so like, huh? But then you don't say anything because you don't want to cause people's self-esteem to go down. So one day I was sitting with her and I told her, I'm so impressed by you, and but something else impressed me. How did you two meet? How did you convince yourself you are going to be married by a Kiwete? How did you convince? And she told me the most beautiful of stories. And I said, Ma, you must have been well taught by your mother. Akaniambia, my mother was not even involved. In fact, alimuona karibu aniulize, woi, ni nini hiyo umetuletea? But the lady knew where her love is. And I tell you, she has become the best person out of that husband that she got married to. The husband has produced the best out of her. And sometimes we lose because we are caught up in utopia. And today, as you leave this talk and conversation, I want you to have a conversation with yourself. And you ask yourself, in the number of times you have been able to date in the past, did you bring the reality to the table? And if you brought, were you heartbroken? Because if you are heartbroken and all what you did is bring a reality, then you are supposed not to be heartbroken. Because if they can't put up with the real you, they ain't good for you. And it's good that they walk away from you. And one of my daughters really mesmerizes me a lot by her attitude. She has this attitude that she keeps on saying, next. Every time she has gone through several boyfriends, and she has not really met the right person. But I always like her attitude at the end of a relationship. Is she cries it out because it's normal to be left, and you had really also tried and invested some of your heart and mind there. And after she wipes her tears, she shouts, next. She moves on. And one day she told me, you can never be put down by something that was not good for you. You're well brought up there. You can never be put down by something that was not, when people walk away from you, it doesn't really mean that you're bad. And I want to really fight against this notion that people really tend to really look at themselves and lower their standards and lower the pedigree and lower everything because they think they're bad. You'd rather release the realistic person, and if you can't hack it, you ain't meant for it. If you can't handle it, it wasn't meant for you. And so that is also good to tell that other person, bye. Don't worry, you can't hack this. This one has someone who can hack it, and it's only good that you leave, that the right person gets in. And so if we learn to do this, we will even reduce the number of heartaches, because we want to cling on utopia. We want to cling on something that will never become. We want to cling on things that you do not know where they're going. But I love him. I'm lost for words when I hear those words. And we have to wake up to who we are. Love the man in the mirror. Love the girl in the mirror. And be able to sell that person confidently. Confidence sometimes can give you what brains cannot give you, what IQ cannot give you. You think of someone like Sir Richard Branson as a class 2 dropout, and he was selling newspapers. It took so much audacity that now he employs very learned guys, very important, schooled people. I want Harvard material to be my CEO. And all he took for him was courage. He said, when you get something, that is too big, don't worry, just say yes. Then bite as quickly as possible till it's done. And it takes courage. And so when you are courageous about who you are, you sell that person to the universe. Don't second guess yourself. You are an original. And you know what? Let me just allow me to take this little corner of preaching. God didn't create a photocopy. God created you as an original. You really waste his creativity by you copying others. You really waste your originality by you trying to become something that is not a reality. It might not be even someone else, but it might be an unrealistic thing. So in dating, if we would have realistic dating, people would even stop wasting each other's time. So because people have spilled the right beans on day one, and they have talked about who they really are, and you have met who the other person really is, and so the conversation is meaningful, and you're able to make calculated decisions immediately after meeting this person, and you can say, ain't good for me, go, or good for me, let's do this. But because of the unrealistic persons that come every time in dating, so we are ending up kissing so many frogs looking for a prince, and sometimes the princess. This is the unfortunate situation we are in. And it's my sincere desire that you who are here and are listening to me are able to get that into your spirit, get that into your mind, get this into your heart, that the best thing that can ever happen to this universe is when we meet the real you, is when we talk to the real you. And you know what? The real you will always be the one who goes to bed. The real you is always the person who wakes up in the morning. And if someone can love that person, then they are good for you, because you're going to be sleeping next to each other for a very long time. And they better love the person who goes to sleep and the person who wakes up. And that will make sure that you can now have the happily ever after. Are you blessed tonight?
Yes.
Yes.
Any questions for me?